Welcome to the Liquidity Event, a show about all things personal finance with a laser focus on taxes, financial independence, and equity compensation. Hosted by AJ and Shane of Brooklyn FI, each episode will focus on a personal finance topic, some driven by news headlines and sometimes driven by listener questions. And sometimes you'll just get two money nerds rambling about what they think is interesting. Just a quick note before we get started, this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax or investment advice.
Hello, and welcome to the Liquidity Event. We're your hosts, AJ.
And I'm Shane Mason.
This is episode 110, being recorded on July 9th, airing on July 12th. A quick reminder to our listeners, we will answer your questions on the pod live if you leave us a voice message. You can disguise your voice, make yourself a robot, use a fake name if you're shy. We don't care. The link is memo.fm/the liquidity event. We've gotten some great questions and some great answers on this show. How are you doing, Mr. Shane? I haven't seen you in a bit.
Awesome. Fantastic. It's summertime. I'm in a hotel. I'm in a hotel in Puebla, Mexico. It's a tiny little town. There's actually someone renting out my place in Mexico City. There's a nice family from Spain.
Nice.
My friend's family came over. She begged me to, she didn't beg me. She asked me, can I rent out your place? It's not like an Airbnb vibe. It's like a friend to friend. I'm sure you've owned, been a homeowner longer than me. So you've dealt with this before. I had a realization, AJ, when I did Airbnb and I was doing all the preparation and I was thinking about you.
Uh-oh. Where's this going?
It is
Where is this going?
Well, you and I are both.
I feel like my character is about to be assassinated. Tell me.
This is true. You should be worried.
Okay.
Because I was thinking you and I share this characteristic in that we are not the cleanest people in a home. And I own a dog. Mm-hmm. I'm not assassinating your
That's
character.
Fine. That's a fair assessment of my character.
We've talked about this.
In defense, I am not dirty. I am just messy.
No, yeah,
yes.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, you and I are both, we're not dirty. We're just messy people. We've got other things going on that don't include putting everything away as soon as we're done using it.
Yeah. So, shout out to my girlies who leave the cabinets open in the kitchen and don't even notice. Nabil's always like, close the cabinets. I'm like, they're closed. He's like, no, they're not. And I go in the kitchen and every single cabinet is open. Anyways, you were saying
that is a characteristic of genius, I would say, right? We're just in our heads thinking about how to solve the world's problems. We're not thinking about being tidy. So when it comes time for someone to rent out your place, you're like, oh shit,
yeah,
I gotta
clean. Yep.
I got a lot of homework to do.
Well, I think that explains the Airbnb cleaning fees, right? Because to get your home ready for someone to pay to stay in it, it has to be spotless. So it's not just the cleaning fee for that person on the way out. It's also preparing the home to be lived in by someone who expects a hotel equivalent staying experience.
As financial advisors, you and I feel like hidden fees are something that are antithetical to you and I. So the Airbnb cleaning fee, I have no respect for the cleaning fee. It's the hidden additional cost at the end. I get it. I get where it comes from, but just like bake it in, be a better business owner, build it into the ownership, like the fee that you're charging. Then again, I don't know. I haven't really done that much Airbnb from an owner's perspective. So not trying to hate on that, but yeah, I got paid a few $100 to vacate my house. And so I'm in a hotel I think you would love. It's designer. Everything is cement, multiple stories, a lot of open air. When it rains, it comes in. There's a nice pool, nice infinity pool. It's in a small town in Mexico, super quiet. I'm like the only person here actually.
Is it hot?
No, it's like 80 degrees.
Oh, amazing. I'll be there tomorrow. It's too hot in New York City. As you can tell for those of you watching, my hair looks like a bee's nest because it's just so frizzy and humid here that there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's great. I love a summer vacation.
Yesterday.
Oh, go ahead.
Yesterday was your birthday.
It was my birthday yesterday.
How was your birthday?
It was so much fun. It was a lovely day.
She's a July baby.
I'm a Cancer. I'm emotional, I've been told by my yoga teacher. Cancer means you're emotional.
Yes, tell me more about how your birthday impacts your personality.
Ambitious and emotional. I'm like, sure, whatever. Anyway, no, I had a lovely birthday. I took the day off. I had some golf balls at Chelsea Piers. I took myself out to a solo sushi lunch, had some delicious uni. It was too hot to do anything else. So I came home, watched some bullshit vampire TV show on Netflix, and then met some friends at a bar for some pizza and cake and martinis. A perfect Monday birthday in the summer. Couldn't have been better, honestly.
That's what happens when you hit your early 30s. You turn 32.
You lower your expectations and everything's awesome.
You spend it by yourself. I think I was on a flight last year for my birthday. I was just like drinking a Bloody Mary on the way to New York by myself. I'm pretty sure it was perfect. Let's go.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. No, thank you. Yes, it was a lovely birthday. It is summertime. We have some articles to discuss today, but I really wanted to talk about the things that cost a lot of money that mostly happen in the summer, which are, there's two. One is travel and the other weddings. Weddings cost a lot of money. Have you ever had a wedding?
Tell me about it.
You ever had a wedding?
I married my to April, and Donatello got married when I was 6 or 7.
Oh,
These are Ninja Turtle characters.
Yep. How much did that wedding cost?
I think each of those figurines was about $6
Okay,
at the time.
so $12 wedding, plus inflation from what was that, 1996. So probably we're talking about $1,000 wedding.
Thanks, Biden.
So we're going to talk about the cost of weddings. So are you going to any, first of all, we are both roughly 36-ish, 37. Are you going to any weddings this year? Have you been invited to any weddings this year?
I have not been invited to a wedding since COVID. Oh, wait. No. I went to one wedding in Ireland at 21. So I've been 3 years weddingless.
Interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
And a
friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine got married in Lake Como.
Nice.
That I was not invited to this summer.
Nice.
So,
okay. So we'll count that. So basically, my hypothesis is if you live in a major metropolitan city, you see a explosion of weddings between the ages of 27 and 30. Let's even call it 31. And then after the age of 31, it drops off a little bit and then it picks back up again at 36, 37. So I think there's like this little wedding drought, or at least that has been my experience. Because I was going to like 6, 7 weddings a year, especially if you have a partner. Between the two of you, combine that's like 1 billion weddings a year. Then that drops off, but I'm going to 2 weddings in the next 2 months, and that's like a lot. And I've been to 2 already this year. So weddings expensive as a guest. Summer weddings, prices jacked up. You usually have to travel somewhere. People try to make it convenient. They're like, oh, it's just a few hours outside town. But it's like, oh, there's only one boutique hotel in the town and it costs $800 a night. And also it's a summer travel weekend. So to rent a car, if you don't own one already, it's $800. So we're looking at $3,000 to attend anyone's wedding ever, minimum, outside of New York City.
Let me ask you, as someone that I get a lot of value out of going to the weddings that I have gone to. I've probably been to like 3 or 4 in my life. $3,000? That's like that's like a European vacation. That's like that's like skydiving, seeing the Northern Lights, staying in an igloo, going down the Amazon River, trying Michelin star restaurants. It's going to Japan.
Which is why
you're talking about going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you're making
somewhere
a choice.
Outside of Pittsburgh to see your friends. ROI on that one, AJ?
I think it depends.
Full honesty.
Full honesty, it depends. As this typical CFP response, it depends. Which is why I want to talk about, I want to normalize not going to people's weddings. And I want to normalize saying you can't go. And speaking from personal experience, as someone who got married on the Thursday before Christmas, at a maximally inconvenient time for people, we knew that there were going to be people who were not going to be able to come. And that was okay. So built into our invite list and my maintaining friendships with people was, it is okay if you're not able to make it to my wedding. In hindsight, there are 2 people I can think of that I really wish had been there. And it bums me out. But you know what? We're still super close friends. And it's okay. And once a year, they'll say, man, I really wish I was at your wedding. And I say, I really wish you were at my wedding. And we move on. And everybody's fine. But I think there is this pressure, this financial pressure. This is a financial podcast where if you are invited to a wedding, you have to go. And I want to normalize saying no and not having to come up with some crazy excuse like, I'm so sorry, I can't make it. I love you as a friend. I'd love to take you out to a meaningful dinner where you and I can have 4 hours of FaceTime as opposed to go to your wedding where I might get 30 seconds of FaceTime, maybe 5 minutes. Maybe we'll share a We Are a Family dance together or a hora. Maybe I'll lift you up in the chair as you're doing the hora if it's a Jewish wedding, and we'll have a great time. But you have my permission, listeners, to not go to weddings that are going to cause financial harm to you. I mean, we read this article. Where was this article from? From The Guardian.
CNN.
The Guardian. And CNN. We read two different ones. One from CNN about this is about paying for your own wedding, which we'll get to in a minute. But this idea of going into debt for your friend's wedding. I'm sure you've been to bachelor parties. I've seen your calendar be blocked off for bachelor parties. I've been to bachelorette parties. So add that on, and that $3,000 could easily go to $5,000, which is a lot of money. That's your IRA contribution, practically.
Hot take, go to the bachelor party, skip the wedding.
Love it. Quality time with your friends, lasting memories. Not a box checked. You save the family money by not taking up a salmon plate, if you're not going to the wedding.
AJ, I want your opinion on this. I'm going to interject with a TikTok that I saw. It's like the 10 things we did at our wedding that are controversial, but are things that people should do. And one of them was not bring the disposable cameras because of the waste and because of you're not going to see them for weeks anyway. But the other one that was really interesting to me was the no plus ones.
I don't like that.
No plus one? I don't like that. You don't like that?
No. Yeah, I don't like that. Bring your spouse. Like, you want to hang out with it's really lovely to go to a wedding. Like, I remember dating my husband and going to weddings while we were just dating. Like, it's really fun. Like, it's very romantic. I feel like you add to the romance. I don't know. I like a plus one. I don't think everyone has to have a plus one. I respect unless if you're, well, this is going to get me canceled, but if you're not married, you can't bring your plus one. That's different. I don't know if you're going to be dating this person 6 months from now and they're going to be in all the photos and space is limited. Whereas if you're married, never mind. I'm going to digging myself into a hole right now. I'm going to pull myself back.
Yeah. Where's this thesis going? She's
all
over the place.
It's
wow.
I don't know.
Pretty,
if someone, so as someone who has been, I know it is.
I don't want
your plus one without a marriage license. Bring the marriage license. Okay. All right. So you have permission from your pseudo financial planner, AJ, to RSVP no to weddings that you cannot afford to go to. You have my permission. So you can blame me to save your friendships. That's cool. Shane, any financial advice for people attending weddings from a travel perspective, Airbnb versus hotel? Where are we at?
This one goes out for the men that are listening. The only reason you're going to the wedding is for the dating app pics that you're going to use to find your wife in the future, because you have no other excuse to put a suit on, my friend. And that's what we want to see in the dating apps. We want to see you with your friends, looking sharp, looking hot, and you need to be dressed. You need to throw a fit on, and you got to wear that suit well. It's got to be tailored. And there's not either you do that or you pay a professional photographer to take the photos of you in your local neighborhood, which is a huge stretch. My friend has done that and it's worked well for him. Women on dating apps have thousands of fantastic photos taken of them because women are beautiful and they're constantly being photographed. Your only shot at looking hot to match them is at the wedding. So
great tip.
Get a nice
Love
fit.
this. So you could actually save, you're saying you could actually save money as a male by going to a wedding, making sure that the photographer gets good pictures of you, because otherwise you'd have to get a professional headshot. So you're saving what, $500-$700 for a great headshot? Easily.
Just piggyback off that. Take that money you were gonna spend and get a fantastic suit. Go to Our Legacy. Go to Cost. Go to somewhere. If you're in New York City, you got a lot of options. Yep. You might have to get something online. Go to LA, get fitted up, look hot, and then just piggyback off of the photographer. That's my tips for the boys.
Love it. Love it. I think weddings are a fantastic networking opportunity. I met my husband at a wedding. Fun fact. So I'm pro wedding.
Anecdotal, but yes, I'm down with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I get it. I get it. Okay, let's talk about paying for your own wedding. Let's talk about how much it costs.
I've got a lot of insight here. For
sure.
Yeah,
Shane is an expert on this. Shane, I can't wait to go to your wedding. I can't wait. How much did my wedding cost? So I'm not counting the honeymoon because that's not fair to me. That's an optional add-on. Before the honeymoon, my wedding all in, including my very expensive alterations on my dress, which I want to talk about, all in was between $35,000 and $40,000, which in the scheme of things is a medium expensive wedding in the upper middle class socioeconomic range that I exist in. So I think, and honestly, you guys, for those of you who were not at my wedding, it was a fucking great wedding. I thought I had so much fun at my wedding. We saved money on certain things. We spent money on other things. But yeah, we pulled it off. It was a lot of work to get that cost down. Like, I think we had a $75,000 wedding, but the hours that we put in and the friends that hooked us up, like, we were able to save tens of thousands of dollars. Anyway, CNN article, the headline is, "Want a happy marriage? Have a big, cheap wedding." And basically the thesis of this article is going into debt, starting off your marriage with a big, stressful, we spent so much money on this wedding, the expectations are so high, it must be perfect, is a recipe for potential disaster in your relationship. So it's saying you want to start off your marriage on the right foot, have a big ass party, and don't spend a ton of money on it. I 100% agree with this sentiment. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that it says here that the average, I guess you're in the average on spend, because couples in the United States spend an average of $30K, and that's from 2013.
Yeah.
So with inflation, you're right there in the average. And then it also says that people that spent more than 20 grand had a 1.6 times higher divorce rate.
Whoa.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Couples who spent $1,000 or less had a lower than average rate of divorce. I mean, these are people.
I have a pet. I have a pet theory on that divorce thing.
Let's go.
The pet theory is that those who spent more on their weddings didn't pay for it themselves. They had to have family help to afford a $75,000 wedding. You're likely getting help from somebody's parent, right? And then therefore you had parental involvement and decision-making power in your wedding, because where the money comes, the decision-making power comes, right? It's like ownership, right? Your mother-in-law has equity in your wedding because they gave you $20,000 for it. So therefore they're on the board, right? They have voting power. So they can veto your lavender color choice and substitute it with red and gold for whatever reason. So my pet theory is that the more expensive the wedding, the more family involvement, the more dirty laundry, airing of grievances comes out at that wedding. The foundations for "I hate your family, let's pull away from them" get seeded, and therefore marriages fall apart because of this complex and toxic family dynamic. There you go.
Well, yeah, I'm on board with that theory. I think anytime mothers and fathers get involved in the wedding, people are not happy.
No.
I mean,
but that's the thing. Like, if you're going to pay for your wedding yourselves, I mean, it adds up. Like, I mean, I remember we made a decision at our wedding not to have a wedding cake, because the wedding cake alone would have been anywhere from, I don't remember, $1,000 to $5,000. Then we would have had to rent china for it. Then we would have had to have extra servers to serve the wedding. Like, to have a wedding cake would have been $10,000 extra just to have a fucking cake. And I was like, I'm not doing that. We're gonna have cookies and almonds. And do you remember that my wedding? Well, you were just so drunk that you don't remember anything from my wedding.
No, I remember a lot.
But no one is like, oh my God, AJ and Nabil didn't have a wedding cake. Worst wedding ever. Like, that's not what people remember. Okay, so from a financial couple's life advice perspective, keep your wedding as cheap as possible. It's a very important day. Yes, you're going to remember it for the rest of your life. Get a good photographer, have it somewhere pretty where you can get a nice outdoor shot, and make sure you get really great outdoor shots of all your single friends, as Shane mentioned earlier. But do not, whatever you do not go into credit card debt for your wedding. It will set up your relationship for financial stress and fights and nonsense that you just don't need. Like that's a hard rule in the sand, drawing a line in the sand.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Apparently, there's a list here of things that you should skip if you want to have a cheaper wedding. One of them is the wedding cake, so you nailed that.
Great.
One of them is any toys or like gifts that you give people. Like, I don't know, like give me an example of.
Oh, like so we had like water bottles, and like to buy custom water bottles was like, I don't know, a couple $100, but I was like, let's just buy 10-cent water bottles from Smart and Final. And then we printed little labels that were like AJ and Nabil that cost $50. So I don't know.
Yeah. Nobody left room in their bag for your favor. So skip that. Just have an open bar, but don't do like champagne toast where like a lot of people will skip that. The designer dress, I guess, is an obvious one. I'm not sure what your dress costs, but the designer dress, shoes, and veil, apparently those three things are like big killers of budgets.
But that's my other advice is pick not just you and your partner. Remember, you're getting married to someone else. It's not just you. Like pick 2 or 3 things between the 2 of you that are really important and splurge on those and then scrimp on everything else. Like for me, dress was really important. I spent a lot of money on my dress. Actually, it was a sample size. It was a sample dress. So I didn't spend that much money on the dress, but to alter it, my alterations cost thousands of dollars. And that was a fun surprise in the budget that I was not prepared for. So my fun, couture sample dress, which I thought I was getting a deal on, ended up being really expensive because I had to rebuild the entire dress.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like weddings are full of what?
I just hate when you think you're getting a deal on something and then it ends up being more expensive than getting it the way. Yeah.
Which is the story of hosting any event, but like weddings are so emotional. I mean, we talk about like spending is emotional. Like home renovations, weddings, these are things where you're just like, oh, it's so important. And like the picture, like it's such a big thing that you just completely lose track of the money that you're spending. Like, do you want the 6-inch tapered candles or the 12-inch tapers? Well, the 12-inch ones are twice as much, but they're going to look so much better in the photos. And you're like, fine, let's just go for it. And there goes another like $3,000 that you didn't know you were spending. You know, it's this like frenzy of spending.
Yeah, let me just do a quick future value calculation here on 30.
Okay, so what are
$30,000?
But so here's what's interesting. A lot of when the parents get involved, when the parents are like, "Oh, you're my firstborn daughter, I want to help you pay for your wedding," or I'll pay for you. I'll give you $40,000 for your wedding, or I'll give you $40,000 for your down payment on your house. If given that, Shane, which option are you picking?
Oh, definitely the house. You kidding me? I mean,
but like why? But why? Like get into it. Get into the details, the financial implications.
I mean, it depends on where I am financially. Like where I was 5 years ago, I'm about to own my house outright.
Where you were 5 years ago? Yeah, $40,000, like seriously game-changing, life-changing money. What do you do?
I mean, if it's just the thing is like, I don't care about weddings. So,
right. So you're a bad
I could have a wedding. You know this about me. Like, that I can live like a dirtbag. We both like kind of have high, low. I think you trend a little higher than me and I trend a little lower when it comes to lifestyles. So I've been to a ton of weddings at people's houses in backyards and they're beautiful and they cost no money. And like, you kind of get everyone to chip in the way that they can. Like your friend that's a chef that does the cooking, your friend that is a seamstress, puts together whatever. Like I've been to those hippie weddings and those are fun. I don't know if I could have a hippie wedding, but I could definitely have a sick wedding for 10 grand. Somewhere at the same time, a Lake Como wedding and like a chateau would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would have anxiety the entire time I was having that type of wedding.
Of course.
Am I showing out? Can I actually afford this?
Yeah.
This money could be invested elsewhere. I don't even like this person. Like the anxiety that goes with that type of wedding.
Of course.
Like,
what if it rains? What if you spend $150,000 on an outdoor wedding in Lake Como and it rains?
On your wedding day?
On your wedding day. Isn't it ironic? Oh my God. I'm so excited to see Alanis Morissette. And next month, she's coming to Palm Springs. Speaking of ironic. Anyway, yes. Going
at the same time, house, like 25, like you're just throwing like a little chipping the, like, is that what's getting you the house? Like if you didn't have that 25K, or is it like putting money into your 401k? Like, oh, I'll have the benefit of this in 30 years when I retire. Like that sucks. Like I used to think that was cool. Like putting all that, like putting your discretionary money into like a retirement account.
Yeah.
And then you're like, ugh, like you're not like 30 years from now, you're not going to be like, this came directly from this investment. It's all going to get mixed into that bucket of other investments and other cost cutting and savings. And like, you're going to associate that with like, yeah, you can't take it with you when you die. There's some element of that when it comes to all these questions. Like you have to live your life, but at the same time, you can't pinch and save. Like it's really cool when you read those stories about like janitors that saved 20% of their income their entire lives and then gave $2 million to the public school that they worked at.
Yeah.
Like that's badass. I love that. But it's definitely an exception, and we can't all live like that's not the American way.
Right. And also like maybe the kids of that janitor might have enjoyed a little bit of extra summer camp activities or something with that money. Like maybe their lives could have been enriched in a different way. But it is a complicated question, right? Like I've been seeing as a Taylor Swift aficionado and fan, my Instagram feed is just all Taylor Swift. And there's all these like, there's this one meme that's like, you know, money will come back, but you'll never get to see Taylor Swift in Amsterdam with your 3 best friends. And like, the financial planner in me is like, ew, this is toxic. But like the life lover and enjoyer of experiences is like, hell yeah, ladies, like grab your 3 friends and go see Taylor Swift in Europe. What an incredible experience. You'll talk about that for the rest of your lives. And like, yeah, in the course of a lifetime, if you're a 35-year-old, $3,000 saved in the stock market or whatever that trip's going to cost is not going to have a significant, meaningful impact on your lifestyle at 65. So go to the Taylor Swift concert. But we're talking about weddings. We're talking about a big expense that can start off a very complex relationship on a very unstable financial position. So that's why I feel very strongly about this no debt. When people tell me that, I get like bile in my throat. When someone's like, oh, I'm going to this wedding and the bride and the groom are going to $50,000 of credit card debt. Like the interest on that alone is going to be someone's rent. Like I don't think people quite understand the gravity of putting that much party on an expensive loan. Basically, is what it is. No.
And divorce rates prove that you'll probably get married twice. But so you got to double.
So save it for the second wedding. That's the one that sticks.
I mean, I guess my macroeconomic thought about this is that there's really 2 ways. I'm buying into this idea that if you have money, one of the best things you can do with it is to spend it, because there's only 2 ways to redistribute wealth in a wealth inequality society. We have a ton of wealth inequality right now in the United States, and it's a problem in large parts of the world. And the United States is one of the worst in terms of the inequality index for sure. And like one of the ways is taxation, and the other way is to spend it, right? If you're spending money on cakes and servers and aprons and liquor, that is being redistributed to the business owners down the chain that are not as rich as you. Please spend all of your fucking money.
Yeah, that's
Get
a good
it out
point.
as soon as possible. Do not hoard it. Get it out into the world. It's not helping, the stock price of NVIDIA if you just park your shares there and don't ever spend that money. Sell it and spend it until Biden and the Democrats raise taxes and we actually get real redistribution of wealth. And if we're lucky, we'll get a global wealth tax sometime in the year 3100.
Right. And for now, a great wealth tax is weddings, right?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. I mean,
can we increase the price based on how wealthy the guests are?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that is always, my friends and I talk about this a lot, which is, when does it become okay for someone that's in a different financial position to pay for other people to do things because it's fun for everyone and it will impact them less? So for example, if you want to get married, you want to have a destination wedding in, I don't know, let's say Nabil and I wanted to get married in Kyoto. Let's say we wanted to do a crazy destination wedding that would cost someone thousands of dollars to get there. If we did that, we'd probably have a smaller wedding. Now, what if I really, really wanted my business partner at the time, who could not have afforded to come with me to Japan? What if I said to you, Shane, like, I really want you at my wedding. I'm going to pay for your flight and your hotel. What do you think about that? So in theory, I think it's great. In practice, most people will not accept that gift.
Actually, in practice, I know lots of people that accept gifts of that nature.
Let's talk about male and male friendship and female friendship.
I know a lot of women that have accepted a plane ticket.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I would struggle with that. As somebody that has bought the tickets for other people, I would love to be on the receiving end of that at this point in my life.
So
I do have a lot of Southern pride.
Just back up. You have successfully said to somebody, a friend, like, it's important to me that you're at this thing. It's inconsequential for me to pay for your ticket. I would love for you to come with me. There's no additional cost to you. I just want you to be there. And they've accepted.
Literally just did it to another man, and he did not accept it.
Right. Okay.
Which was, I told you we're going to the lake house this weekend. Okay. And my friend, as a joke, he was like, my friend was like, oh, I can't make it. I got to work. Cause like summer rental real estate in New York. Like I have to be in New York and I don't have the money. So my other friend did a GoFundMe for him on a lark, as a joke. And I made an actual GoFundMe, and I immediately filled the bucket just to like checkmate, like you got to go.
Yeah.
And he still didn't come.
You called his bluff.
So yeah, I called his bluff. So spicy, but yeah, interesting. Anecdotal, but yeah.
Male friendship is so weird.
I find it fantastic.
I mean, not that female. I'm not saying it's any different. I just say that in a vacuum. It's just wacky.
It's a lot of bluffing and talk.
Yeah, I feel like women are maybe catty, but y'all are just like wacko. Just like take it too far.
Yeah, anything for the bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I would love for there to be like your earlier point, like let's redistribute. Like if and look, like life is long and cyclical. Like if someone has had a great year, like I have a friend who just had a crazy year promotion. She's doing super well. And she was like, I want to go on this trip. And she wanted to take her partner and another couple. And she's like, this is like my bonus trip. I want to go. She lives in Europe. She wanted to go to another European city. And the couple like refused. They were like, no, we can't accept that. And she was super bummed, And it's like, I get both sides, but like, can we just kind of normalize like accepting? I mean, of course it's like, well, there's strings attached and you'll want the favor. It's like, I'll sign something like that says there's no strings attached. I won't ever hold this over you. Like, I actually just genuinely want you to be there.
I think if you want to get that done without the shame or the anxiety, you have to do something. If you really want it done, you have to put some intermediary in the way, such as like a GoFundMe account with an anonymous contribution, right? It's like, you have to be
anonymous. It's Shane.
I'm anonymous. It's me.
A GoFundMe that was only shared on a private Instagram with 4 people. It's anonymous.
Yeah. So, but I think if you really want it done, you have to get creative about putting a third party or like, oh, you want a golden ticket in your candy bar, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something of that nature.
Like, well,
to make
yeah,
it feel less I paid for it. Like I drank your milkshake, or I put my milkshake in your milkshake.
Right. So basically in a female friendship group, it would be like, it would just be no, because you would just be like, oh, I want you to come to my bonus. I got a bonus at work. I want to take the girls to Vegas for the weekend. I want you to come. I'm paying for your ticket and your hotel. I'll pay for meals, like literally all expenses paid. They would just say no. Whereas in the male friendship group, the men would invent this like contest and like submit, and like the guy would like win the contest that no one has anything to do with, and he would like win a free trip to Vegas, and he'd be like, I won this thing. But then he would find out eventually, and then the friendship would dissolve anyway. So there's no way to win. People don't like to be hoodwinked. Okay, I think we could wrap on weddings. Don't go into debt if it's your wedding. It just is going to be hard for your relationship to recover from that. If you're going to a wedding and it's going to be really expensive and cause you financial stress, you can very gently and in person or on the phone, don't just send a text, don't just say no, say, I can't come to your wedding, I love you. It's not financially feasible for me. My financial planner said I can't afford to go. That's fine. Quick listener question of a few minutes. I heard about the collapse of Synapse Bank. Is my money not safe in an online bank? And can you explain how FDIC insurance works? Great question. Often misunderstood. We do hear about banks collapsing. I don't want to say all the time, but it happens, right? Local banks. Last year we had two two fairly major banks collapse in a matter of a weekend, which was very stressful for your folks here at Brooklyn FI and a lot of our clients. But we got through it. So what is FDIC insurance, and are you protected if you put your money in a quote unquote online bank? Take this one. It's like, Shane, I just handed you a layup. Like, what's going on?
This is the easiest question. Are you serious? $250,000 of your money is insured by the federal government. So the federal government knows that the wildcat banking years in the West in the 1800s, there was all kinds of little banks with their own currencies around the West. It was kind of cool. It was like total libertarianism out there. Let's not bring that back. A lot of what we've seen in the crypto space. And then, of course, regulation came in and made an industry much more robust because the federal government realized that if they would just insure the first, I probably started with $10,000 of customers' funds at every bank. Even if the bank went under, the federal government would step in and make sure that you were made whole. It created a lot more confidence in putting your money into the bank, which created a lot more liquidity, a lot more mortgages, a lot more opportunities for money to flow out of the federal treasury and for us to develop and build houses, industries, commercial, railroads, et cetera. So regulation was helpful in finance. And so that number has been adjusted for inflation over the years. We got it up to 250,000. I don't think it was adjusted. There hadn't been a real true bank failure since 2008. So we didn't really get an update to the amount until I think it was like 2006 or 7 for a long time. So whatever, at the end of the day, it's $250,000 of your funds at a bank will be insured by the federal government. Your $250,000 in first dollar wouldn't be insured. So you can just, you can do just open another bank account just right next to it. So you can have 10 bank accounts, each with $250,000. So you got $2.5 million of FDIC insured covered funds. Yeah. You shouldn't have that much cash unless you're buying a really, really, really nice house or you're doing like an acquisition of another business or something like that. Otherwise, you can just get a loan for whatever gap in funding that you have there. So what else you got?
Well, I will say, someone like FDIC insurance is great. Does it work? Yes, it does work. Like this, we have seen this in practice. Customers do get their money back. Is it overnight? No. Right. So this is a situation where you might not, if you are signing up for an online bank because you want to capture their high yield savings, the high interest rate they're paying on their savings, like that's great. I generally don't like to put all of my money in one online bank that's been around for 5 years. Now, do I feel confident as a certified financial planner putting $250,000 in an online bank that is FDIC insured? Absolutely. But I'm going to keep some cash in a brick and mortar bank that's a different bank that I'm going to have ready access to because I need to pay my mortgage, my bills, my internet, et cetera. But yeah, don't be afraid of online banks just because they don't have a name brand of Bank of America or Chase or Citibank. As we saw with First Republic, those banks can collapse too. So keep some living expenses in a checking account. We like 3 to 6 months of what it costs you to live your life. So rent, general expenses, credit card bills, that times 3 or times 6. If you're self-employed, should probably be times 12. And then the savings stay in a higher yield online bank account that is FDIC insured. You don't really see a lot of banks that are not FDIC insured, but it is good to check.
If you're in that space, you got different issues going on. There's some financial literacy. You should be delegating all your financial decisions to other people.
Yep, that is true. Well, Shane, you want to read us out?
I sure do. Thank you so much for listening to the Liquidity Event. This is episode 110. Email us your financial problems at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com. Just like the one we just answered, we will read it on the air and answer your question. Leave us a voicemail at memo.fm/the Event, and we'll play it on the air. Show notes at brooklynfi.com/episode 110. And finally, stands. All of you stands out there, please leave us a 5-star review. Don't be weird about it. Just drop it in there.
Don't be weird. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.